Hello, true duelists. My name's Craig Fee, and as always, welcome to the Yu-Gi-Oh! Update. At long last, after not having had a World Championship in this game since 2019, we finally got to see one, including the first ever World Championships for Master Duel. And what an event it was. Starting with day one, where participants for each Duel Links, Master Duel, and the TCG and OCG gathered into what I can only assume was the section of a local mall that had yet to be fully renovated yet and just was that empty space. I'm a fan of the event, don't get me wrong, but my god, paper playmats and chairs from grade school classrooms were not exactly what I envisioned for day one of the event. Granted, you can argue that the most important thing going on here is the games themselves and not what the venue looks like, and while I can't say I fully disagree with it, I would say that day two was a lot more of the type of event I was expecting to see. That's a World Championship tournament type venue. Still, opinions on the presentation aside for now, the damn duels. I'll start first by congratulating Yugioh, or Takagi, for winning the Duel Links Championship this year. I apologize, of course, for the butchering of that name as always, but he won. I don't play Duel Links, nor care for it a ton myself personally speaking, but being the best player in the world is no small feat in regards to skill nor wallet size, and as such a full congrats to go to him for winning. And as is standard, an apology for butchering his name. I'll apologize twice, I'm not fucking scared. And of course, there's probably what was the most hyped tournament of the event, the Master Duel Championships. Master Duel Championships were a bit different from the others in that it was teams of 3 in a first to 5, with each player being allowed only 2 decks, which is similar to the Duel Links format if I'm not mistaken, but with teams instead. It was a tense day one with a good showing from all sides, but day 2 whittled it down to just Team 7 versus Team Snipe Hunters, which was fittingly enough teams with 2 notable competitive content creators. Team 7 was led by Raymond Dye with Jesse Cotton and Ryan Yu, while Snipe Hunters were led by Joshua Schmidt with Jack Roy Steenkamer. Oh, I butchered that, I'm sorry. And Emmerich Kizalades, which, gentlemen, I'm sorry to both of you. I really should stop fucking trying to pronounce things. Either way, it was a TCG showdown for the first ever Master Duel Finals, and what players were calling the America versus EU Showdown. Because, you know, Team 7 was comprised of such famous Americans as Jesse Cotton and Ryan Yu, both home from Toronto, Canada. The Germany versus Canada finals, featuring cameos from the United States and Netherlands, was nothing short of a phenomenal one. What started with a 2-1 lead in the first to 5 finals after round 1 would be tied up 3-3 at the end of the second round, resulting in not just a first to 2 wins final match, but also in the most hyped up game of the finals, Jesse versus Josh. And speaking to the quality of all duelists, both Quantal Think, or Jack, I'm just going to say Quantal, and Ember won their games, securing the title for World Champions. A huge congrats to the team entirely for Team Snipe Hunters, although I will say it was nothing short of tragic that the Josh versus Jesse duel did not get the spotlight it probably deserved from the casters in general, or the event in general, I should specify. That it didn't get to conclude more than anything. I get that the result of the match didn't matter, and I understand that they probably just wanted to move along to the physical game for timing of the event and all, but the casters had hyped that match up, the community had hyped that match up, and it looked like it was a nutty, nutter butter insanity tier game. It was going crazy. All right? Not only that, but the entire event, I don't think there had been a single 3-0 sweep at any point between any team. There was always a 2-1, and there's a non-zero chance that we would have seen not just the first ever Master Duel Championship, but also the first ever 3-0 sweep, because I'm not an expert, but it looked like Josh had that one secured. I'm not going to pretend to doubt Jesse Cotton on tier elements. I'm just saying that that game looked close. Either way, it was a phenomenal game, and a huge congrats again to the entirety of Team Snipe Hunters. And moving on last to the TCG. And I mean no discredit to the OCG duelists when I say that. Those who had qualified, all 28, are phenomenal players deserving of credit. I just mean to say that by the time the game reached top 8, all OCG players had been eliminated and only TCG players were left. With 2 Dragon Link decks, 2 Rika decks, 2 Math Mech, and 1 apiece for Vanquish Soul and Sword Soul, it was a tense run to see what deck and what player would ultimately take the trophy. Top 4 ultimately saw both Rika and Math Mech duelists eliminated, much to Joshua Schmidt's joy specifically, and finals would ultimately boil down to an American versus Latin American duel, because the 2 top 4 was America versus America and LATAM versus LATAM, or specifically Colombia versus Peru, because much to the world's astonishment, Latin America is in fact more than one place. So Paulie Aronson advanced to finals with Dragon Link versus Mateo Rentiara. I'm putting the gun at myself. Sword Soul versus Dragon Link, there it is. Following a tense Game 1 where Paulie played through not just 1 but 2 evenly matched damn well, Game 2 would see a minor top deck war as both players had very little to make plays with, before a Nibiru from Mateo while Paulie had Heavenly Spheres on board would ultimately result in Paulie being able to go full combo to win the game, securing not only the first World Championship title in 4 years, but the first ever by an American player. And that's a United States American, not the MBT style of all of the TCG is America. American. Huge congrats to Paulie Aronson for not just his win, but his historic win. Nothing short of an impressive run for him this year, and the objective literal best way to top it all off. And there are your 5 champions for Yu-Gi-Oh! For this year. And look, the Duel Links winner is spaced out way more than the other 4. Is that like a metaphor for something? Or maybe there's just a similarly shared language between the other 4 players. I just found that picture really funny. We'll never know why that was, but we will know when the next YCS is. Because after a good month-ish long break, you can look forward to the next YCS being the Team YCS in Sao Paulo on the weekend of September 2nd, which I'll report on then. And until then, I hope the updates will go smoothly with me filling in, because this is a good chunk of time in these son of bitches. Also from Worlds, you may recall a countdown that had been going on from Konami that ended during Worlds. Speculation from the community had ranged from a new video game to a new movie or animated series following the traditional card game, and even a reboot of the Duel Monsters series. As it turns out, we've shown ourselves as a community to be damn fools. Not for thinking that any of those are possible, but for thinking that Konami would care at all about the global audience. Yo, why aren't I ever going to be sponsored by them again? Still, the announcement was for a tournament only for Japan. Suppose we could have been clued into that fact that it was a Japan-only thing by the fact that not a single TCG entity of Konami had mentioned it in any capacity. But in our defense as a community, we did see that a number was moving, and that triggers the primal instinct to hype it up. Number go down, what mean? So yeah, apparently apparently it's a teaser for an event to take place in the Tokyo Dome, which they'll announce later. They've announced a fucking announcement. Crazy, dude, mad hype, can't wait for it. That has to constitute time theft. I want my attention back that I put into that shit. Fucking useless. And in some news that might actually affect you, Konami has announced another ban list and a new selection pack from Master Duel, with Kashtira at long last coming to the game. And by ban list, I of course mean an update to the list that simply semi-limits Kashtira Fenrir. So, you know, that Master Duel tradition of slapping one thing in a deck to 2 and being like, won't be that bad. Totally gonna be fine having 3 Unicorn and 3 Arise. No, it's gonna be cool, guys. Everyone's gonna have fun now. It's gonna be great. To play, I guess if you like playing Kashtira, but no, what I mean is gonna be great is it's going to be a great amount of bitching by the world at large, because Master Duel's metagame is an echo of the metagame of the TCG and OCG, so every time a current format dies, we get to hear it come up back to life again in Master Duel, and then the same relentless bitching can go on forever. Love game. This, of course, comes into effect on the 10th, or I should say came into effect on the 10th, which is yesterday when I uploaded this video. So, cash time, baby. Here we go. And also this week was the announcement of the OCG's Terminal World set, a new set featuring cards from the Duel Terminal lore, with promotional materials mentioning specifically Ice Barrier and Infernoid by name. The set will come with many new cards, featuring cards from the Duel Terminal lore, with ranges from the Hidden Arsenal sets through to like the Duelist Alliance meta that weren't anime decks. It Also mentions new cards and new artworks for 4 existing themes, and a special ultra rare piece of Exodia because the 25th anniversary is exclusively about duel monsters, and that's it. Oh, as always, there's no certainty of when or how we'll be getting these in the TCG. Presumably it will come in either a Battles of Legend type set or a Ghosts from the Past type set. As to when, who knows? The OCG sees this product coming on November 25th of this year, so we probably won't be getting them until 2024. There's also no certainty that the new cards will be for Ice Barrier and Infernoid specifically. I mean, I'd bet money on it, but to be clear, it does not say new Infernoid cards, so I'm just journalistic integrity or whatever the fuck it is I do here. Also, to be clear, there's nothing they can do to fix Ice Barriers. You could make Infernoids playable, don't get me wrong, but the only thing Ice Barrier cards have in theme is the name. There's no synergy, and it's just awful. Not unlike this segue into the next segment. In community news. See, that was brutal this week. I don't know, actually. I didn't see a whole hell of a lot worth talking about. I suppose you could mention the whole thing between MBT and Master Duel World Championship winner Joshua Schmidt put some fucking respect on his name, and that whole like minor thing where Josh kind of called out for exposed. Drama alert. Because MBT made a Twitter video where he called the TCG America, and then Josh did the thing where he was like, hey, look, an American saying the whole world's American. And then that was it, in all honesty. There wasn't a whole hell of a lot of like actual drama. It was just the usual thing, because Americans be American and non-Americans be non-American. Isn't that crazy? That's literally it. Is this community news? No, it's time theft. So if you want to go ahead and you want to complain about that, go ahead. If you want to complain about Americans in the comments, go ahead. Maybe you want to complain about people constantly complaining about Americans. You can do whatever you want. It's me pandering to get comments for the algorithm, but it's also a real reflection of the world. Everyone has something to say, and none of us want to hear it. And so now for something we all want to hear, today's sponsor. Thanks, as always, go to this week's sponsor, the LIFD Magnetic Display. The best way to support my channel currently, and the true Duelist-approved way to sponsor my channel. Support my channel. Both, really. Use it to show off your World Championship winning cards, why don't you? What's that? Are there only like 50 people that sentence can apply to in regards to Yu-Gi-Oh? Well, then show off your cards you won at locals. I don't know. I'm just trying to sell you it, okay? Whether you want to play it or whether you want to display it, you can get my promo code YGOstrats15 for 15% off, or you can have that apply automatically by clicking the link in the description. Either way, it's a thanks to LIFD for the support, and a sincere thank to you for watching. So that wraps it up for this week's update. As always, I've been your host, Craig Fee. And make sure you subscribe to YGO Strats for next week's update to impress your smoking Italian wife, and so you too can be a true duelist. Whether you want to play them or display them, put them in one of these bad boys and you can use 50% to beep, 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 beep.